What's up, folks? This is Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. I'm back this week with an instructional solo playthrough of Tales of the Valiant. For those of you that don't know what an instructional playthrough is, well, I'm going to play the game and I'm going to take a little bit of extra time kind of explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing mechanically, and I'm going to try to talk to you as if you've never played this game. That said, this is not a how to play. For that, there are plenty of other content creators that can do a much better job than I can. But hopefully, after you watch this video, you'll get an idea of my process for creating a solo game and also for playing Tales of the Valiant. So whether you want to play solo or you just want to play Tales of the Valiant, this video should be helpful in getting you started along that path. So without any further ado, let's get over to the table. Character creation. In Tales from the Valiant, you have a very easy to follow character creation process, starting with step 0. I need a pencil, I need a character sheet, I need some dice, and obviously I'm going to need the player's handbook. Check, we've got all that. Step 1, create a character concept. So in this case, I want my character to kind of be a mix of a martial and arcane character. I want him to be able to throw some spells, but I also want him to be able to swing a big old two-handed sword. I'm going to call my character Valiant, and that kind of gives us a starting point, kind of a Witcher-esque character, if you will, and that's our concept. Step 2, I'm going to choose my class, and for my class, because I want this concept of being able to throw some spells, but then also being able to use a weapon a little bit, I'm going to go with a Warlock. Now, by choosing a Warlock, I'm going to get proficiency in Wisdom and Charisma saves. I'm going to have proficiency in light and medium armor, as well as shields and simple weapons. My skills, I'm going to get Deception and Intimidation. I had a few choices there, but I'm going to go with Deception and Intimidation because those will both utilize my Charisma, as my Eldritch Blast does, which I get at first level, and my Pact of the Blade. With my Pact of the Blade, I will be able to materialize a weapon to my hand and make it disappear, basically as an arcane ability, and I will automatically be proficient as long as I'm using this summoned weapon, which is going to be the two-handed sword. Step 3, and now for some fun, I'm going to roll some attributes. And I'm going to use method 1, which is going to be to roll the dice. So I get to roll 46 for each stat and throw out the lowest, and then I get to assign those when I'm done rolling them all. So I'm going to go, got an 11 here, and a 14, and another 11, and a 13, and a 12. So nothing bad, just nothing great. And the last one, a 10. So I have 10, 11, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So everything is either average or above average slightly. And with the attributes in Tales of the Valiant, they are not tied to your racial choice or lineage in Tales of the Valiant. They are actually just picked which two you want to add a modifier to. So you can get a +2 to one of your stats and a +1 to another. So I'm going to take a +2 to my Charisma, and I'm going to put my highest statistic there. So that'll give me a 16 because I started with a 14. And then I'm going to take the 13 and put a +1 there. And we're going to put that, it suggests Constitution, but I'm actually going to go with Dexterity. So that 13 becomes a 14. The rest are just flat numbers. I'm actually going to put a 12 in Strength, which again is not suggested because I'm going to not really rely on Strength for my attacks. I'm going to use my Charisma for that. I am just wanting my character to be a little bit stronger than average because he's going to be carrying around a two-handed sword. Attribute bonuses are going to be the same as they would be in 5e or most modern D20 games, that being for every 2 above 10, you're getting an additional +1. So I have a +1 to my Strength, +2 to Dexterity, and a +3 to Charisma. As I mentioned earlier, I am proficient in Charisma and Wisdom saves, meaning I get to add my proficiency bonus to those. So that's going to be a +5 to Charisma saves and a +2 to Wisdom because my proficiency bonus is a +2. And then nothing to Intelligence or Con saves, +2 to Dexterity saves because I've got a 14, and +1 to Strength saves because I've got a 12. And those are my attributes. Step 4 is choose a lineage. Now, a lineage is kind of like half of the racial component from a standard D20 game that you're used to like Dungeons and Dragons 5e, for example. So the lineage I'm going to go with is going to be human, and that is going to give me a free talent and a free skill, and it's also going to make my movement base of 30 feet. So I'm going to choose Weapon Discipline, Great Sword, that will give me a +1 to hit and damage with great swords, and also allow me a bonus die if I get a critical hit with a great sword, and it will give me some temporary hit points if I kill with the great sword. Now, if you're a rules lawyer and you're looking at this and you're going, wait a minute, you are only proficient with a great sword while you are using one that you have materialized with your Blade Pact. Hold on just a second, because I'm also going to get a free weapon proficiency in any martial proficiency, and I'm going to choose, or any martial weapon, and I'm going to choose greatsword with that when I choose my heritage. Is it a little bit out of order because that's not till step 5? Yeah, it is, but I think we're going to roll with that anyways because it's the rule of cool. And then I'm going to also get a free skill, and for that I'm going to take survival because it kind of goes with the theme that I'm going with my character. I'm going to say that this character is the last of a long line of adherents to a long forgotten religion, and they believe that their ancestors are passed through their ancestral weapons, which in this case is going to be a two-handed sword, and that he can draw upon the abilities and the powers of his ancestors through his mastery of this blade, and therefore he is on his own a lot. That's where the survival skill comes in. Long way of saying that. All right, on to step 5, and that is going to be the heritage. This is the second part of the race that is broken down into lineage and heritage in the Tales of the Valiant system. Heritage is often going to be confused with background because it does have somewhat of a similar tone, but mechanically they are different. Heritages offer a very specific set of benefits, whereas backgrounds offer something very different. So I am going to choose Diaspora. I think I pronounced that correctly, but if I didn't, please let me know in the comments, as I'm sure you will. But the basic definition of Diaspora from the Tales of the Valiant Player's Handbook is that it defines your character as descended from an ancient civilization that has been displaced or perhaps destroyed, and you're trying to bring that civilization or order back to prominence. which goes right along with what I said earlier, where my character is trying to be faithful to the memories of his ancestors from which he draws his power. So through my choice of diaspora as my heritage, I'm going to get a skill, which is going to be history, because I know the history of my people. And then also I'm going to get a proficiency in a martial weapon, which I'm choosing Greatsword, which is why I took the talent weapon discipline Greatsword. I also get an ability called Timeless Resolve, which states that either my character or an ally within 5 feet gain advantage on fear saves, and I get a couple of languages, common and one other, that would go along with my theme. And I'm going to say my theme is Elvish, and my people, while they were human, learned ancient secrets from the elves and how to pass on their customs through a particular blade dance. And that's what this is going to be about. Step 6, I get to choose a background, and as my background, I am going to choose adherent, because I am an adherent to that ancient religion that I talked about earlier, passed on down to my long-lost people by the elves. I'm the last of the line, and it is a very militaristic but also spiritual type of situation whereby I can draw upon the power of my ancestors through the blade dance, which is going to be reflected in the warlock class. So I get 2 skills with that. I'm going to take persuasion and religion, and then I also get skill in artist tools, because I need to be able to kind of reflect the culture of my peoples. And also I get to choose a set of tools, and I'm going to choose a medicine kit for my other set. And I get a talent, and I'm going to choose, there were three talents to choose from, and I'm going to go with Field Medic. I think through the training with the sword and the blade dance, I think that my character would have needed to learn to be able to dress wounds out in the battlefield, so we're going to go with that. Alright, we haven't even started the game yet, and there's a little bit of retconning to do.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
So I did say that I was taking a medicine kit as the tool of choice from one of my choices, and turns out I can't do that, because there is no such thing as a medical kit as a tool. There's a healer's kit, which is just an item. So I've changed that. We're going to make my other tool proficiency as smithing tools, kind of goes along with the theme with my great sword proficiency, and that being my ancestral weapon. So I am going to swap that out, and then I've also kind of filled in the blanks on my bonuses with my different proficiencies and my skills. I've added my proficiency bonus, my initiative, my passive insight and investigation, my speed, my hit points of 8, and that covers most of it. Now, through my different choices of background and my class, I would have gotten 2 simple weapons to go along with everything else I've got on here. I'm going to trade my 2 simple weapons and my 10 gold pieces in order to get a greatsword. So I'm going to go ahead and erase my 10 gold pieces, not choosing 2 simple weapons, and I'm writing down my greatsword. And with my greatsword, I will use my charisma bonus. That's a special benefit of the Pact of the Blade. So I'm going to get +3. I'm proficient in it, so that makes it +5. And I've got weapon discipline, so that makes it +6 to hit. It's 2d6 damage, and it is slashing. And I guess I need to also mark it's 2d6 plus 6 nope, not 6. I'm going to get my charisma bonus, 2 damage, and I'm going to get my weapon discipline bonus, so that's +3, and +1 is +4, so I'm getting +4 to damage, and it is a slashing type. No range, but it does have some weapon options, so I'll look those up. Alright, so the greatsword has disarm and hamstring as options, so when you take an attack with it, instead of choosing damage, you can choose one of these weapon options. You can disarm your opponent, possibly making them drop something that they're holding, or you can hamstring them to prevent their mobility. Now, I will say the greatsword has a cost of 50 gold. The most expensive simple weapons would be a cost of 5. So between the two simple weapons I could have had and my 10 gold, I would have only been at 20 gold. So I'd still be 30 gold in the hole. That said, again, this is how I would do it if a player came to me and they just said, this whole concept is based around playing a character that wields an ancestral two-handed weapon, and I took some choices that were not optimal to better feed into that. I think I'd let the player do it, and so I'm going to let me do it as well. Again, whenever you're doing this at your table, you may choose to do it differently, and that's perfectly fine, but this is how I'm doing it. You do it your way.
If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way.
And as Valiant is going to be traveling by himself, and he is the last of his people, he has experienced a lot already. So in order to start my solo session, and also to be able to show you a little bit of what advancement entails, I am going to level Valiant up to level 2. That's going to give him the ability to cast some spells, and it's going to give him some Eldritch Invocations. These are both key elements of the Warlock class in Tales of the Valiant, so I didn't want to miss out on that in the solo playthrough. For the Eldritch Invocations, I'm going to choose Beyond Sight, which gives him a better than dark vision ability to see in the dark, and means that I don't have to worry about him carrying a torch with that two-handed sword. That would be difficult. And I'm going to give him for his second Eldritch Invocation Agonizing Blast, which allows him to add his charisma modifier to the damage with his Eldritch Blasts. As far as spellcasting goes, he's going to be able to cast 2 cantrips and 2 first circle spells. For those of you that aren't familiar with Tales of the Valiant, what is commonly called a level of spell in Tales of the Valiant is called a circle of spells. So basically 2 cantrips and 2 first level spells. If you wondered what Valiant looked like, here he is. This hero was created with Hero Forge, and if you want to create your own miniatures that are custom to your liking, Hero Forge is a great place to do it. I am not sponsored. I did not get anything free from there. This is just a site that I like to use. These only run about $12 a piece for the flats, so very affordable. And that's what we're going to be using on our journey in Tales of the Valiant. All right, so we've got our character, but now we need to create the inspiration for a story. And a lot of times I'll just use my regular GM Oracle to do this, but I've had this tool on my shelf for a while. It looks really cool. I've not really used it much yet. This is by Nord Games. It's called the Oracle Story Generator. And with this book just kind of tells you how to use it and also has some pre-made quests. But you have a series of 5 different decks. And each of the decks has different side decks. They've got development, intent, subject, and action, and actor. So when you put these together, you should be able to create a story. So each of the different decks is a different kind of subject matter. So there is the relics and artifacts, which is going to focus on trying to obtain ancient artifacts and relics. Political intrigue, if you wanted to create a courtly campaign. Epic adventures, which is going to be for a long-term campaign. And contracts and bounties. So I chose the simple side quests because this is going to be a one-shot adventure, and I didn't want to get anything that wouldn't have a resolution within a single scenario. So let me move this box out of the way, and we'll move our decks over here, and I'll show you how this works. So you will need some dice with this as well, because you're going to roll for each card that you draw for a subject. So we'll go ahead and start with the subject deck. We'll shuffle these up a little bit. And the subject is a trap-filled dungeon, a dangerous, perhaps constructed as a lair or vault that has been kitted out with the traps that serve a specific general purpose. They might range from mundane pit traps to magical glyphs and wards. Now, then below, you've got 4 options. I'll roll. 2, entrap. These traps form prisons, preventing creatures from escaping. They include pit traps that cannot be climbed out of and cages of magical force. So, I know that is going to be my first one. So that's my subject. Let's go ahead and find my action. We'll do the same thing. So we're going to flip a card from action. We're going to roll a die. 1. Needs to be clear. Clearing something means removing the danger from it. The danger can come in a panoply of forms, some of which are easier to clear than others. Creatures. There are dangerous creatures that must be removed from the subject being the trap-filled dungeon. Killing the creatures is only one possible approach. So maybe I could negotiate with them, potentially. All right, so we've got a subject and we've got an action. Let's do our development. We'll see what we get there. But someone wants to stop them. Somebody is trying to stop the actor achieving their intent. This might be because they are part of the problem or might be part of a secondary conflict. So let's see who it is. 3. A rival is preventing the actor from clearing the trap-filled dungeon. A rival of the actor seeks to a rival of the actor seeks to undermine them during the quest or find a way to prevent it from being undertaken. Okay. So then we need to get that was development. So I still need to get intent and actor. Let's move some cards around so we have a little bit more room. And we're going to do the intent. And we're going to roll a die. 2. To find a missing person. This individual has been missing for a few days, weeks, months, or even years. Previous investigations into their whereabouts have failed, and now the actor is grasping at straws. And it is a friend that is missing. The individual is a friend of the actor who is desperately missed. So we'll put a 2 there to remind us of what we've got. And then the last one is going to be the actor. We'll just keep moving these down to make room. Valiant's moving around with us, unfortunately. And the actor is a noble. 3. The actor is someone who, for a wide variety of potential reasons, has a high standing in society. They might have attained great wealth, be a powerful spellcaster or renowned warrior, or just have been born into the right family. And I rolled a 3 there. Wealthy. This noble has wealth to spare and is willing to pay extra should certain conditions be met. So we know The subject of the quest is going to be a trap-filled dungeon, and the traps can take the form of cages that are magically held and pits that are unclimbable. And to complete the side quest, we need to clear out the creatures. And the creatures have to be completely removed from the dungeon. They don't have to be killed necessarily. And there is a rival who seeks to undermine the quest of removing the monsters, the creatures, from the trap-filled dungeon. The actor is wanting to locate a missing friend, and the actor is a wealthy noble. So I'm thinking that maybe the wealthy noble is a member of a royal family, and the missing friend would be a fellow noble who has an alliance with this noble. The rival could be another noble who has maneuvered to create this situation where the missing person has wound up where they are. And then I will discover during play who the creatures that I need to remove are, as well as where the traps are going to be held. Now, I am in luck because this side quest seems to line up pretty well with the dungeon and cavern that I already have set up on the table. So we'll roll with that, and as we play through our solo session, we will explore the side quest story through the lens of the dungeon we have here. These are the notes that I had written down after I randomly created my side quest from the Oracle Storyteller generator. So, my subject is going to be a trap-filled dungeon with magic cages and pit traps. What I need to do is clear out creatures. Now, those creatures could be animals, could be human enemies, could be undead. We don't know just yet. The development is that there's a rival trying to prevent what I need to do. And I rolled and it was going to be a noble. The intent is that a different noble is the one that hired me to clear this out, and that there was a friend that was captured. The actor, the one that hired me, is another wealthy noble. So I came up with the idea that the friend captured a male noble. The actor was a female noble, probably a romantic interest in this case. She hired me to free him. Payment for my services is my confiscated family blade, which goes along with my character's backstory. The rival, I decided, was going to be from the same house as the female actor. He captured the friend of the actor, and I decided that a cool way for that to work out would be that he discovered the family secret that they are smuggling. And so expounding upon that, I had to come up with some names in a little bit more detail. This is a brief breakdown of where the story is at when we start our game. The actor is Isadora Doyle. She is in love with a noble from a different house named Hilton Baldry. Unfortunately, Hilton noticed that there were some rough types following Isadora into her stately manor after they finished their night on the town. So he, being a protective gentleman, decided he was going to follow them and make sure that they didn't do anything felonious to Isadora. Unfortunately for Hilton, Selmer Doyle, the oldest of the Doyle family, caught him and saw that he now had discovered the smuggling operation that the Doyle family has hidden for many, many years now. On the back end, I've decided that the eldest, Selmer Doyle, has a bit of a gambling problem, and he in order to pay his debts, has established a smuggling operation to avoid taxation and also to be able to do business with enemy regions. My son and I had together created a map without this purpose in mind. I had created a cave and he had created a dungeon, and I had challenged him when he wanted to create a dungeon to create one that would line up with this cave that I had made. And so now I came up with the story that this cave is actually an old mine, because the Doyle family used to be a prominent mining family in the community. It's long been abandoned, but it works out perfectly for the purpose of smuggling goods out of the area. So when we start our adventure here, we're going to start media in res with Valiant just getting into the manor with the help of Isadora Doyle. She has tasked him again with trying to find her captured love interest Hilton Baldry and help him to escape. I would say that Isadora likely has at least a few acquaintances in this smuggling operation, that if she can get us to the right folks, potentially we could escape through the traditional smuggling route. So the primary objective is going to be to go through the old family dungeon here and find out where Hilton is being held, get him freed, avoid the traps, eliminate probably guards or whatever I roll up as the enemies that are holding him, and try to survive along the way. So that's where the story is at. Let's start playing the game. Balian quietly descends the stairs from the room that he was allowed entrance to by Isadora. He now would make his way into the primary library room of Selmer Doyle. As he descends the stairs, I am going to ask the Oracle, of which I am using the one-page Mythic GM Oracle. I'm going to say, besides the library in this spread of food, what do I see when I descend these stairs? To do that, I'm going to roll on the Discover Meaning table of the one-page Mythic Game Master emulator. I'm going to roll twice. I'm going to roll once on Description, and then I'm going to roll on Action. So a 32 on Description is Fragrant. That makes sense. There's looks like a good-looking spread of food there. And for Action, 84. PC. Uh-oh. So I think there is someone down here. I think it is at least possible that this is Selmer eating down here. I did this descent at a time of day that Isadora didn't think Selmer would be here, but with the food here, it would make sense that it's potentially him at least. Let's do a 50-50. Is this Selmer? And I'm rolling the Ask the Game Master Oracle on the one-page Mythic Game Master emulator. Is this Selmer? And a 95 on the 50-50 is an exceptional no. So this is not Selmer that's down here. So let me roll again on Discover Meaning, and I'm just going to roll 2 descriptors and see if that will tell me who this is. So an 08 is going to be Bright, and a 42 would be Helpful. Okay, so let's think about that for a second and decide who that could be. Since I rolled Bright and Helpful, I think that what I have here is one of the commoners that work in the dungeon area it's a young man, and he has prepared the meal, or at least is delivering the meal that has been prepared for the guards. And since I rolled helpful, I think there's at least a chance that I can convince him that I need to know a little bit more information on the Order of Isadora, and maybe she even gave me a letter or a crest that I can show him to show I'm on official business without giving too much away about my capacity. So I'm going to roll my persuasion, and as my persuasion is based on charisma, and my charisma is a +3, my persuasion is proficient, so I've got a +5. So I'm going to say that I've got a difficulty of a 10, and so I need to roll 5 or better. And I got a 15 with the bonuses. So yeah, I've convinced him that I'm on official business from Isadora, and that I need to know when this guard is going to be coming and from what way. And I think that it is fairly likely that he would be coming from the room next door here, which I, as the GM, know is a bedroom, but the actual character, Valiant, does not know that. So is that the case? I think that's very likely. So let's roll on the Oracle, and we're going to roll a Ask the Game Master on a very likely chance. Is this where the guard is coming from? And I got a 41. Yes, that is definitely a yes. So I think that with that said, I'm going to tell the young man that I need to go see the prisoner, and I need to make sure that the guard has no knowledge of this conversation. I'm going to do another persuasion because that's a little bit more of an ask, and I'm going to say this is a difficulty 12, so I need to get a 7 or better. And I got a 6. Ouch. Okay, but since I failed that check, I am going to get a luck point. So now my luck is going to go up by 1. So I have a luck point, but unfortunately, the boy is onto my scam, and he does not think that that is kosher. So I'm going to have to waste some of my resources, and I'm going to have to use one of my spells. I have 3 first level spells available to me as a 3rd level warlock, and one of those spells is sleep. I roll 8d8 to see how many hit points of creature I could put to sleep with this, but this boy is not going to have 8 hit points, so I'm not even going to bother rolling. He does not get a saving throw for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast my sleep spell, and then I'm going to very quietly and gently place the young man right here, sleeping near the table. And I'm going to hope that the guard, when he finds him, will assume that his story is a dream and will be too busy reprimanding him for his falling asleep on the job to worry about what he actually said, which is probably just a big dream anyways. So in this area of the dungeon, I, as the creator, know that it's a ways away from the actual holding area. So I think it's unlikely that this door would need to be locked, but it's possible. So I am going to say, is this door locked? I'm going to say that it's very likely that it is unlocked. I got a 57 on the very likely yes. That's right, it is unlocked. That's good. So we're going to open this door, proceed through quietly, and close it behind us, hopefully leaving no trace other than the sleeping attendant. And I think that this is a good time to ask the Oracle, is there any living guard here in this area? As I see that there are some tombs, it's potentially that there would be somebody unliving here. So let's say, is there a guard in this area? 50-50. 84, no, there is not a living guard. So I'm going to proceed. Now, I did find out in the story oracle that there were traps here, and I think that Isadora would have warned me somewhat of that, but maybe she wouldn't be completely familiar with the entire dungeon area. It's not really her bag. So I am going to roll, and I'm going to say 50-50. Do I spring a trap as I make my way through this room? A 16. That is a yes. Okay, so as I go through this room, there is some sort of a trap that I've sprung. I'm going to roll on description and action. So description first. I got an 87. And I'm going to spread the camera out just a little bit. I'm going to move it over. And then I'm going to zoom in. And a 57 on description is modern. And a 26 is create. Modern, create, and it was a trap. So I think that maybe these tombs are not actually housing ancient ancestors, but actually these are undead creations created to protect the dungeon area from would-be intercessors such as myself. And so I created a little encounter table just with stuff that would be appropriate for this level of an adventure. And I've got skeletons and zombies on there. So I'm going to roll a d6 with 1 to 3 being skeletons and 4 to 6 being zombies. So we've got some zombies that are in this thing. And I'm going to roll another d6. We'll say a d3 actually, that how many zombies are going to be in these things. So 2 zombies, because with a d3 you always divide the 6 by 2 and then you round up. So I'm going to have 2 zombies to deal with here. On my quick encounter table I have a distance roll, so I'm going to go ahead and roll that. And I rolled a 2, so they're close, but not near. So I would say perhaps this guy and this guy here coming out of their tombs. And with that, we will roll initiative and set up an encounter. So for my initiative, I will roll a d20, an 11, and I add my dex modifier of 2. So I'm at a 13. Here's our bog standard zombie in Tales of the Valiant. They've got a dex of -2, so when I roll their initiative, they're going to be at a -2. So the zombies initiative, we'll go ahead and roll. And in case you were wondering, where did these standees come from? Those are actually Arc Knight standees. I really love their product. I did not have good luck ordering through their store directly, but I've never had bad luck ordering through their Amazon store. So if you are looking for a cheap alternative to painted minis that look great on any table, they've got this clear base, so they look awesome whatever terrain you're playing on too. You know, these are very inexpensive and they work great. So let's roll initiative for them at a -2. They're at a 5. So I'm going to get to go first. So combat is going to work very similar if you've ever played Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. With the character, I'm going to be able to take a move and 1 action. I can also do up to 1 bonus action and 1 reaction each round. You can take a lot of free actions. I've got a movement of 30 feet, which is, these are going to be 5-foot squares, so I can move like 6 of these squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go over here to put a little bit of a barrier between me and this other zombie in case I don't kill the first one. And I am going to materialize my blade as a bonus action. That is something that I can do because of my pact to the blade. So Valiant says his prayer to his ancestors, and his 2-handed sword, his great sword, just forms itself out of the ether into his hands. As he's walking up, it forms in his hands in the stance to make a great swing against this zombie. And he is going to roll a standard attack with his great sword. He's going to get a +6 to hit because he gets to use his charisma bonus to hit. That's another benefit of his class. And he also has a +2 proficiency bonus, and he has the weapon discipline talent. So my roll is 16 + 6 is a 22. That's definitely going to hit. Let's see what kind of damage he can do. Okay, right now he is doing 2d6 +4 damage. That's his charisma modifier, and a +1 for his weapon discipline. He has an ability called Reaper's Mantle, which if he activates, gives him a little bit more oomph and would make him a +6. But for right now, he's just getting a +4. So 11 + 4 is going to be 15 points of damage. And unfortunately, these guys have 16 hit points. So this guy has got 1 hit point left. I had to check to make sure. There is a luck mechanic in Tales of the Valiant, and I thought that it was only good for checks, saves, and attack rolls, and I was correct. But basically, you can spend luck to retroactively increase a die roll by the amount of luck that you've spent, and unfortunately, you can't use it on damage, so he is still at the 1 hit point. So that is my turn, other than if I get a reaction. I don't have any bonus actions that I am using right now. I will say I don't need light because I have a special invocation called Beyond Sight where I can see in the dark. But all right, let's go on to the zombies' turns. So we will say that this gentleman next to me is going to make his attack first. And so he is going to roll with a +4. And if he hits, it'll be a d6 +2. So he got a 15, which is going to beat my 13 of AC. And he's going to do some damage to me. So he did 5 points of damage to Valiant. Now this other guy is going to be moving. He's got a move of 20. Zombies aren't particularly bright. So I think he's going to go the closest route, even if he's kind of pinned in, just to reflect his lack of intelligence. So he's kind of stuck behind this other zombie, kind of reaching around him, trying to grasp at the fresh brains on the other side. So I need to mark down my damage that I've taken. So I've got 13 hit points left, and I will go ahead and start the next round, and I'm going to take another swing with my sword and hopefully then be able to move out of the way and shoot this other one with my Eldritch Blast. So I got a 10 + 6 is definitely going to hit. He's only got 1 hit point left, so I don't even have to roll. So I hack the thing in half, but zombies have a special ability called Zombie Fortitude. If damage reduces a zombie to 0 hit points, it can make a con save with a DC equal to 5 plus the damage taken, unless the damage is radiant or from a critical hit. On a success, the zombie drops to 1 hit point instead. So I guess I do need to roll damage. Another great damage roll. So I got a 9 plus 4 is a 13. So 13 plus 5, he's got to roll an 18 on his con check. He gets a plus 3, so he needs a 15 or better. He got a 14, so he is actually dead, dead, real dead. So now I've got my move left, so I can move 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there. And I was not within 5 of this guy because he was behind, so I don't provoke an attack of opportunity. So when this guy goes, he will dash. Oh, I do need to roll back one thing. I need to check to see if the first zombie successfully grappled me when he attacked me. I missed that part of his attack. So he would have a grapple. I guess I would have needed to make an escape roll. So let's roll all this back. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so I am grappled now. You know what? After reading the grappled condition, it does not prevent me from attacking. As I knew I had him on the ropes, I think I would have attacked anyways, and he would have failed his save. So grappled would just keep me from moving away until I'd rolled an escape. So we're going to roll that back to the way it was originally and go from there. So this zombie is going to dash. We've got a move of 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So he is right there, but that's both of his actions. We'll move to the next round, and Valiant will get an attempt to hack him down with his sword, and I failed. I rolled a 4 plus 6. Actually, no, I did hit. They've got an AC of 8, so I hit even with a 4. So I'm going to roll my attack. I got a 6 plus 4. I did 10 damage. He's got 6 hit points left. Now, he is going to get a chance to attack me. He got a 5 plus 4, so a 9. He missed. My AC is a 13. So that is the end of his turn. I will come into my next turn here. He's got 6 hit points left. Let's see if I can kill him. I got an 11 plus 6 is going to be a 17, so I hit. He's got 6 hit points, and I did 14. That reduces him to 0, so his DC save to see if he is arisen again is 5 plus the 14 that I rolled for damage. So he needed a 19. He did not get it. So we again hack this zombie to pieces, and I approach the great 2 doors here, the large room, and I want to get a description of what these doors look like. So I'm going to roll descriptor twice. 89, simple, okay, would not have expected that. And 78. So 78, quiet, simple and quiet, perhaps too quiet. You might wonder how this luck die can raise. Every time I fail on a save, a check, or an attack, it's going to go up by 1. But if it goes above 4, I have to re-roll it, and it goes down to either 1 to 4. So it encourages you to use the luck, and as I said, you can use a luck point for point to increase a check, a save, or an attack. Or you can use 3 points to just re-roll a check, a save, or an attack. So I've got this simple door, this quiet area. And I think I am going to attempt to open the door because time is of the essence. I don't want to do too much exploring here. I just want to get to the prisoner and save him. So let's see if the door will open. I think that based upon the way this door is set up behind this protective set of zombies, big oaken doors, simple. I don't think there's even a lock on them. So I'm not even going to roll. I'm going to say if you've made it this far, you're probably okay to go through. So I open the doors, and what do I find? To decide what I've found, I'm going to roll twice on the one-page Mythic Game Master Emulator. I'm going to roll action this time. I'm going to roll action twice. See what the purpose of this room was. 98, surprise. And 65, leave. Surprise, leave. Okay, I need more. And that's the thing with these descriptor action kind of discover meaning tables is they don't always give you what you want the first time. You can keep rolling until you find something that makes sense, and you can even ignore something if it just totally doesn't make sense. I mean, surprise leave could be, you know, we know there's magical traps. Maybe it just beams me out of here and I'm removed from the dungeon, but what fun would that be? Remember, these solo games are largely about creating a story that you can enjoy and having a little bit of fun with the mechanics of the game. So I'm going to roll a descriptor now. 32, fragrant. I keep rolling fragrant. All right, so surprise, fragrant, remove. I'm gonna roll again on descriptor. 15, damaged. Okay. So maybe surprise, damaged, fragrant, removed. I'm thinking maybe that these two green glowing orbs that are on either side, you can't see one of them in the camera, but trust me, it's there. I think this room was potentially, at one point, some sort of a portal. Maybe the Doyle family was involved with some sort of eldritch sorcery, and they summoned things here, and the portal is broken because I rolled damaged, and lucky for me, right? So maybe that's even how they came to be able to create these necromantic monstrosities that were in the other room. So I'm going to ask, is there anything dangerous in this room? 50-50. 93, exceptional, no. There's absolutely nothing dangerous in this room. So with that said, I'm going to close this door. I'm going to kind of secure it. And I am going to take a short rest, and I'm going to use one of my hit die. I've lost 5 hit points in the last battle. I got 4 of them back. So I'm now at 17, and I've used one of my 3 hit dice. Okay. So short rest, basically I spend a little bit of time checking my wounds, making sure I didn't get any infected bites from these zombies, and making sure that I've got my wits about me before I proceed to the next area. So I think that I'm going to check to see if these doors are locked. This is kind of a different area, and I, as the creator, know that this is what leads to the holding area. So I think there's a good chance that these would be locked. So I'm going to say very likely that they're locked. And I got a 90, and they are not locked. Okay. So maybe they just thought, you know, the zombies and the guards that would be posted a lot of times, and the fact that this is a secretive lair, that's enough to assure that you're not going to have anybody in here that you don't want. So I'm going to make my way into this next hallway, and I'm going to kind of move the camera over so you guys can see the next hallway. And then I'm going to roll action twice to see what the purpose of this hallway is. 89, setback. 33, delay. Okay, well, setback and delay kind of mean the same thing, and as I look at the layout here, there is a web. So, and I don't know if you can see it from the camera, but when I was building this, I didn't have a piece to fill in exactly this corner on the back side of this diagonal wall, so I just used a broken tile there. And so I think that my setback and delay is that the spider that lived underneath this dungeon that left this web is still alive and present. So I'm going to have to deal with a spider of some sort. I did catch a mistake that I made earlier. I said that materializing my blade would only be a bonus action. Apparently that's a full action. Knowing that, given that I am going through a dangerous area that I'm not supposed to be in, I think I would have just had my sword out to begin with. It's kind of going for the rule of cool there in the materializing the blade in mid-swing, but since I can't do that, I'm just going to carry my blade around and deal with the consequences of that. So I know that there is this spider here, and just so happens when I created my random encounter table with some enemies that would be appropriate to this level of an encounter, I chose a giant wolf spider as one of them, and I am going to use that as my delay and setback here. So I need to see if I am surprised by this, which is pretty likely. I don't have a trained perception. I don't even get a bonus in it. And the wolf spider's stealth is a 16. So I'm going to need to get a natural 16 or better in order to not be surprised. I got it. I got exactly a 16. So the fates are with me. I am not surprised by this giant wolf spider that is presumably hanging in the air above me. I'm trying to steady the camera here. Hopefully that does the trick. And I am going to be able to roll initiative just as normal because I was not surprised. So my initiative is an 11, goes to a 13 with my dex bonus. The giant wolf spider has a dex of +2. So he got an 8. I think that he's probably maybe hanging from the ceiling, and so don't think the ceiling is high enough that he could get away from my blade. So I'm going to go ahead and try to hack at him with my blade. I think this webbing makes it difficult terrain, so I'd move half as fast. But I'm going to make my attack, and I got a 5. His AC is a 14. So bad news is I missed. Good news is, hey, my luck die goes up by 1. Now I'm at a 3 luck, so presumably I could re-roll this, right? Not quite. You can't use luck on the attack in which it was generated. So now I have 3 luck, so the next time I could use the 3 luck to re-roll an attack, check, or save. But this time I am on my own. So I am going to now give up the turn to the wolf spider, and it is going to climb on down to me and try to make an attack. It gets a +4 to hit, so it needs a 9, and it does a d6 +2 damage, and it also causes me to make a con save versus poison. So it got a 10 to its attack. And again, it was a +4 to hit, so it is going to hit. And it's going to do a d6 +2 damage. So 3 damage, dropping me to 14. And then I have to make a con save. And the con save is going to be a DC 12, but I don't get a bonus to it. I got a 13, so I don't have to use any luck. I'm not poisoned. That's good. And I am kind of tangling and wrangling with this spider down here. So I will now attempt to shift the turn back to me. I'm going to hack at it with my sword. Now, I have a couple of non-damage options that I could use. I could hamstring this thing, which would slow it down, reducing its speed by 10. If it was trying to get away from me and I needed to make sure that I captured it, that would be a good option. In this case, it's just an animal. I just need to kill it. I also have disarm. Again, can't really disarm a spider. It's got 7 more, right? So the best option for me is going to be to attack it. I could use my Eldritch Blast, but I think really in this case my sword is the best option. And I got a 5. A 5 is not going to do it, but I'm going to use my 3 luck to re-roll that. And I got a 7, not much better. So the 7 is going to give me a 13 overall, and he has an AC of 14. So I still missed. So we will go back to a 1 for my luck. And I am not going to move. I am just going to pass the turn back to the spider, who is again going to try to crawl up and pounce on me and bite down with its huge fangs. It got 1 taste of me. Let's see if it can get its poison injected into me. A 9 plus a 4 is a 13. It hits again. And it does 1 again. So 1 plus 2 is 3 damage again. So that'll take me down to an 11 HP total. But the big thing is going to be, did I get poisoned? I need to roll a 12 or better. And I got an 8. I am poisoned as well. So the spider poison is going to do another 2d4 points of damage. I'll just remember that I've got a 1 in my luck here. So 3 more damage, bringing me down to 8 hit points. Also, I now have the poisoned condition. I stand corrected. I guess I do not have the poison condition. I would have had the poison condition if this had knocked me to 0 hit points, which wouldn't really matter much anyways, because I'd probably be sitting in one of these cells if that were the case. So, I'm trying to adjust my camera here so it doesn't shake on you guys. So, I am down to 8 hit points. I did take some damage from poison, but I am not poisoned. That was good for me, because if I actually had the poison condition, I'm basically getting disadvantage on all attacks and saves and checks and not good stuff. So I'm going to try desperately to hit this thing, as I've not done yet, and I am going to swing my sword again. And I got a 22. That is going to be enough. But he's got 14 hit points. And I do 8 plus 4, I do 12 hit points to him. So he's got a couple left. And since he is a animal and there is an escape route for him, because he could go through that little hole in the floor that he came from, I am going to ask the Oracle, does he want to try to escape? And because he's very close to death. Not everything fights to the death, you know. So I'm going to say action. We'll roll an action. 59. Help. Yep, that's he's when I asked whether he was trying to escape, he says help. So he is going to scurry through this hole. I could take an attack of opportunity against him, but I know he's just doing his normal, natural, spidery thing by attacking somebody that came into his food pit here. So I'm going to let him go and just think that by letting him go, he's probably not going to come back. He doesn't want to tangle anymore with me. So I am going to make my way cautiously through this difficult terrain. And as I make my way around the corner, do I see any guards? I'm going to say it's very likely. Or I'm just going to say likely that there's guards. I rolled a 12. Exceptional, yes. There are, I'd say exceptional means there are more than one guard. So we're going to say we got 2 guards. And maybe standing here having a chat. They didn't hear me fighting the spider. We'll say that I was kind of further back, and I don't know. Let's say they're down here, I guess. Otherwise, they would have engaged whenever they saw me or heard me fighting the spider. So I'm a little bit further down. So I dispatch the spider, and I come around the corner, and I see the guards. So I will say, did they see me? We know they didn't hear me there, or they would have responded earlier. So we'll say 50-50. Did they see me when I come around the corner? And I got an 80. No, they didn't see me when I came around the corner, so I have an opportunity here. So let's see how far away they are. So they're about 60 feet from the corner of the room here. So when I peeked around the corner, was there a prisoner in this cell here? 50-50. 44. Yes, there was. Okay. Is it possible that the prisoner I need is in this cell? I think that it's at least probably 50-50. And 04. Exceptional, yes. Okay, so Hilton Baldry is in this cell, but that means that these guys are back here protecting whatever is behind, which I know as the creator, I created a little bit more secure cell back here that has some manacles on the wall, but Valiant doesn't know that. But what Valiant does know is that his job is to get Hilton out of here, and he doesn't care about anything else. So since Hilton is here, I am going to attempt to get him out of here and not worry about anything beyond that. I am going to have to dispatch these 2 guards to do that, though. I needed a model to be my Hilton Baldry, and he was going to be a noble. So I reached into my bag of Arknight miniatures and grabbed out the noble character here, and we're going to place him in this prison cell. And since the guards do not see me, I am going to go 10, 20, because this is difficult terrain, and I'm going to attack. I have a range of 120 feet with my Eldritch Blast. I can hold my 2-handed sword in one hand, I just can't swing with it. So I'm going to make an attack roll against this guard before he knows I'm here. I got an 18, and with my bonus to hit, which this is considered a spell attack of +5, so I got a 23. That is definitely going to hit the guard's armor class of 14. My Eldritch Blast is going to do a D10 of damage, and since I have Agonizing Blast as an invocation, I will get my Charisma bonus to that damage. So D10 plus 3, I did 7 points of damage to this guard, and of course, as is the theme for the game, he has 8 hit points. So he's got 1 hit point left. But I would say that he's pretty shocked, having just been sitting here having a conversation with his buddy, and all of a sudden he's got 1 hit point left. He's almost dead from this green flame of spirits and anger and all this weird WYRD warlock magic that hit him right in the chest. So I am going to use the rest, my other 10 foot of movement, to move back on the other side of this difficult terrain. And so the guards and I will now roll initiative. I got a 1. Yikes. And the guards get a 15. So I don't think an initiative roll is considered a check. I'm not going to give myself an extra luck point for it. I could be wrong on that, though. So they are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 30 feet. He's going to dash 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he's right there on the edge of the difficult terrain, being careful to stay out of it. And this one is going to be a little bit more cautious, not going to dash up. He is going to use a dodge action, which will give him advantage on dex rolls, and also attacks against him will have disadvantage. He's going to be a little bit more protective of his life. Now, next, I get to go, and I will go 10, 20. I've got 10 foot of movement left, and I'm going to use my two-handed sword against another 1. Oh, that is just wonderful. Wonderful. And so I get another luck point. There are no official critical fumble rules, but a 1 always misses. So I have missed. I've got some movement left. I don't want to provoke an attack of opportunity, so I'm just going to stop my action there. I missed badly, and I think that would even give perhaps this guard a little bit more confidence that even in his shaken and damaged state, he might be able to take me after seeing how badly I fumbled that shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this guy is going to attack. He's got a 6, and his to hit bonus is going to be a 3, so he got a 9. So he failed to hit. This other guard is not going to be able to attack me. He's a little bit out of range. He doesn't want to dash up to me and give me a free attack at him. So he's just going to stay back and dodge again. Back to me. I am going to attack this front guard. I got a 15 plus 6 is a 21. Definitely going to hit. And I am going to roll. My damage has been spot on. So I did 15 points of damage. He's only got 8 hit points. So I essentially cleave him in half with my ancestral greatsword. And I've got movement left. So I am going to confidently move up. And with him at 1 HP, I'm going to leave 5 feet between us so that potentially I give him a way to escape. And I think that there's a good chance that morale-wise he is not interested in continuing this combat after seeing what happened to his friend there. So let's go ahead and roll. I think it's very likely he does not want to continue combat here. And one of my dice fell out of my tower. So I got an 07. Exceptional, yes. He does not want to continue combat. So I think he drops his sword and says, look, this isn't worth the 2 gold a week that I'm making at this job. You know, the Doyle family, they haven't paid me enough to give my life here. And so I'm going to ask him to open the gate to the cell, which he does. I am going to explain to Hilton what has transpired here, that his significant other, Isadora, has hired me to get him out of here. And I'm going to ask the guard if there is any other way out of here than going back the way I came. And I think it's very unlikely, but we'll roll and see just in case. So I got a 14, and very unlikely. There actually is. It's still a yes. So there is another way out. I would think that it's probably extremely dangerous. Is it related to this caved in section of the floor here? I think that's probably likely. 96. Exceptional. No, it's not. No, don't go down there. There's spiders down there. Yeah, I know. I found them. Okay, so is it something behind this doorway here? Likely. Exceptional, yes. Okay, so maybe what it is I could, if I got past whatever's being held in this particularly well secured area, there is a way to get out. I don't know what that would be though. Interesting. Maybe there's some stairs back here even then. Ooh, that would be particularly cruel to place stairs in the room with the individual that you have chained to the wall. So it's like Tantalus. They see the stairs right there in front of them, but they can't reach them. Ooh, I like that. Let's go with that. So I'm going to place the guard in this cell so that he is not going to be able to go tell his buddies. And we are going to, Hilton and I are going to make our way back here. We took his keys, of course, and we're going to go through this door. And this is kind of a rest area. There is a little chest that I placed in here. I don't know what is in said chest, but you know what? The GM Oracle knows. So let's go ahead and find that after I chase my die across the floor. Sorry for the bump of the camera. So let's go ahead and adjust the camera. We'll move it down here so we can see the final room here. And we'll also place some stairs down here because we decided there was a way out. And it was a particularly cruel setup where the chained prisoner would see these stairs taunting him. And maybe that is even an indication of what this room is used for. Maybe this is an easy access point for someone to come down and regularly torture whoever's here. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I don't like that, but it makes for a good story, I think. So let's go ahead and roll description twice and see what is potentially in this chest, or if this chest is even accessible. So 09, I got clean, and 20, dark. Clean, dark. Okay, I think I know what this is. I think this is just clean, dark uniforms that the guards can use, they can change into. I think this is just a chest that's used for their personal effects. Nothing of particular value here. But when I get up to the iron gate and I see the manacles on the wall, I think it's very likely there's something chained up here. But what is it? Because his political prisoner, he just put here in this open cell. So who would be down here? So very likely that we have a prisoner down here. And I rolled a 61. Very likely, yes, there is. And let's roll action and description to see who it is. 61, increase. 35, full. Increase full. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to roll another description. 46, incomplete. Full, incomplete, increase. Ooh, this is almost like a Saw situation. And maybe the prisoner has been gnawed on by rats, or potentially even lost some of his appendages from the torture that this evil Selmer has done to him. And so I think that full, I think, potentially means that he's already passed, and his body has started to bloat. But I think that we need to give him a proper burial, and we need to get him out of here. So we're going to use the guard's key to raise the grate, the iron gate, and we're going to use the key to release the manacles, and we're going to hoist the body of this man over our shoulders and make our way up through the passage that the guard showed us. And that is where we're going to end this solo session. Now, I did go over luck mechanic. I went over character creation, character advancement. I talked about the weapon options, but it never really came up that there was a good place to use one. I used some spells, and you got to know a little bit more about the Warlock class. That said, the Warlock class is one of the more similar to 5th edition classes. It just happened to be the type of character that I wanted to play. If you wanted to see one of the more unusual changes that are in Tales of the Valiant, you could check out the Mechanist class, which is very different than anything in 5th edition. So you can see my banker coming through in me there. But hopefully you enjoyed this playthrough, and hopefully this helps you to see a little bit more about how one solos a game of Tales of the Valiant and how Tales of the Valiant plays. Again, it's very similar to 5th edition, but there are some key differences. In this particular game, you saw how luck worked. It's very different from inspiration, and I think it's much more usable. And you got that. And then also, there are some key differences in the way characters build out in Tales of the Valiant versus 5th edition. Particularly, the talents are much more useful than feats, and the way that the races are broken down into lineage and heritage, I feel like you get a little more bang for your buck as you're building, and you can create a little bit more of a custom character. That is my instructional solo playthrough of Tales of the Valiant. If you've enjoyed the content, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, this has been Justin from Books, Bricks, and Boards. Good gaming, and God bless.